So we have our concept map paper with all the parts. So last unit we looked at was about equations and decimals. The next one right now, we're just going to put to be determined. You'll find that out later. And now we're going to learn about divisibility. And scientific notation. So we have two ideas. I'm just going to do a quick division here. Okay? So, the first thing we're going to learn about is, like I said, divisibility. Okay? Now what about divisibility? We have situations where we're looking at one number we have situations where we are comparing multiple numbers. Okay, so first thing we're going to look at is the one numbers. I want to know, does it have factors? But specifically more than 2. So does it have more than 2 factors? If we can say yeah, no, or if we can say yes. If it does not have more than 2 factors, we know that it is prime. If it does, we know that it is composite. So, if we have composite, we can even go further. We can find, it's called the prime factorization. And that's what we look at with one number. So if we're looking at 2 numbers, there's a few things we can do. We can use divisibility rules for what? To find 2 things. Greatest common factor, which is GCF, or we can find least common multiple. Running out of room here. We call that LCM. So this is the GCF and LCM. Okay? So our divisibility unit is everything connected like this. Now, after that, we're going to look at the other half of the unit, well, maybe not half, the other part, about scientific notation. So the very first thing we need to do, I want to know, what is it? I'm just going to put questions in a little cloud there. So after we know what it is, we can look at 2 things. When do we use it? That's a question, so I'm going to make a cloud. And how do we use it? So there's two things we need to look at. We're going to use it for two things. We need to convert, which means change between two things. Of course, scientific notation. But also what we call standard notation. And these two we're going to convert back and forth. You're going to learn how to do that. So there's our scientific notation. Now if you notice, mine is very neat and organized, so I hope yours is very neat and organized. Alright, so we have something called essential questions, which are basically 3 big questions that you can think about throughout the lesson. So I want to know, why are divisibility rules important? Why are they important? The next, what does GCF, what do GCF and LCM mean? And how are they different? So your goal of this unit, or this part, is to know the difference and never mess it up. And the last one, I want to know when and why do we use scientific notation. Okay? So when and why. Now let's work our way over here. The vocabulary for this unit. We're just going to go in order from the map, basically. We have divisibility. That is the most important one to know. We also have factor, prime, composite. I'm going to put GCF, but we have it written right here. LCM, scientific notation, standard notation, and we'll just put exponents. Okay, now the idea of this map is not so you learn everything today, but so that when you learn it, you know exactly where it's connected in the unit. Okay? And what is the point of this entire lesson? Basically, it's going to help us lead to more advanced operations, but also lead to more advanced operations and show ways to represent numbers. So if you can't see that, it says lead to more advanced operations and show ways to represent numbers. And there is your entire map. You can pause it whenever you need. Less than 10 minutes. You're welcome.